It is that time. It's expert picks for the final week of the regular season presented by FanDuel. Here are the games. All of them on Saturday and Sunday. Only 2 games on Saturday, and those are going to decide the AFC North, or at least they are all going to be in the AFC North. Early window on Sunday will determine the NFC South. Late window will determine the last wild card in the AFC, and the night game, bottom right, is going to determine the 1 seed in the NFC. Oh, look at last week. Pete and Kyle.
You went 12-5. Oh my God. You're on fire.
Kyle's having a great year. Look at him. He's 24 games over 500 overall. His best bet's 13-4. Pete under 500 across the board.
I had a couple good weeks in a row, which is astounding, by the way.
Well,
why are your best bets so bad?
Well, I had the Packers this week. Mine are usually close, and they always go the other way.
You invested in Jordan Love.
Yours last night should have been a loser.
Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah. He had the Lions.
That's Pete Prisco, Kyle Long, Amanda Guerra. I'm Chris Hassel. Let's get into it, Amanda.
All right, so let's get into the first game on Saturday here. We have the Browns at the Ravens. The line is extraordinary in this one. It is 17.5.
Amanda wants to take Ravens money line for her best bet this week.
You didn't say good bet. No. You just said best bet, and I felt like it was a very good bet.
You have to pay to make that bet.
Anyway,
pay a nickel for 5,000.
You just said bet. It was just something I guarantee was going to happen.
That's a Phil Mickelson bet.
So I'm guaranteeing that's going to happen. They're going to get the AFC North. Pete, how do you address this line and the total?
Well, I mean, the number is reflective of the way the Browns have played with their quarterback situation being so bad. They don't score points, and I think the Ravens will score points. I think this one will get ugly early. And look, normally you sit there and you say 17.5 in a division game. I'm not laying that, but I can't see taking the Browns in this spot. I don't ever love laying 17.5, but I'm going to lay it. I'm going to take the Ravens.
You know what? You say division game. I feel like this Browns team should be relegated the way that they've thrown this year with Deshaun Watson, with benching Jameis Winston. Yeah, I know Jameis Winston throws some picks, but at least he throws the thing.
Right.
You get an opportunity. We got a receiver up there who works in the research desk upstairs, and I said, who would you rather have, DTR or Jameis? Because some of the people are saying you throw a lot of picks if you're Jameis, but if you're a receiver and you've got DTR quarterback, you are checked out from the first drive on. With Jameis Winston, you have to have your antennae up. You know you can score points. That's not who they're going to have. Give me the Ravens in this one.
Let me ask you this, Pete. A lot of people thought this past weekend would determine the MVP race. Where are you right now between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson? Or you could throw in the other two guys.
Well, it's not determined. Well, it's determined. I'm leaning in one direction. I'm not going to reveal that.
Because you have a vote? You're not going to reveal it?
We're not allowed to, supposedly, but let's put it this way.
When do you follow the rules?
I'm leaning to a quarterback in Buffalo. Let's put that way.
Big surprise.
All right, fair.
I'm not a voter, and it's almost criminal that Joseph Tooney is not on that list right now.
Jeez. Oh, well, go always find an offensive lineman.
I haven't heard this siren in 2 months.
Who would you give it to right now, though, between the 2 quarterbacks?
I would go co-MVP.
Oh, jeez.
Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson.
You can't do it.
You can't?
You got to vote for one.
Check the rule book.
One or the other.
So that game's at 4:30.
One or the other.
The other Saturday game is also in that division. Is the Steelers hosting the Bengals. Cincinnati going for a 5th straight win. That would keep them alive going into Sunday, where they would need 2 more things to happen.
Yeah, and I think they're going to win the game. I really do. I think the way Joe Burrow is playing, and the way the Steelers have played on both sides of the ball, I think Joe Burrow will go in there and score points, and I do think he's going to stay alive. I just love what he's done, and you mentioned it. If it wasn't for the record, he'd be right in the mix for the MVP. His numbers are astounding. The way he's played, when you watch him play, you see what Higgins did. How do they allow him to leave? You know what I mean? If you're the Bengals, how do you not keep that together? So I think they go in there, score points. I'll take the Bengals.
Yeah, they understand what's at stake, and I think it was Newton who says an object in motion stays in motion. That's the Cincinnati Bengals here at the end. With that door closing, that window closing, they've been sprinting towards the sunlight. They are so very
That's
close.
twice I heard that from you
It takes
today.
a division win to get in. Go beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, who peed down their leg on Christmas Day.
It's just one of those things that he has in his pocket. Let me quote Sir Isaac Newton.
You know what? I said it on Twitter last night, and somebody said, "Oh, I didn't understand
You said it
Newtonian
on Twitter.
physics was
You
coming."
said it on Twitter.
I
You
said
said
it on
it this
PTP.
morning, and you said it
You
again.
play the hits like Dan Campbell showing up with his whole team in San Francisco.
That's almost as many times as you told people you got a tennis racket and you're playing tennis today.
Actually, that did come up already today. That did come up.
I got a new hobby. Sue me.
It was funny. He said, "Does anybody in here play tennis?" And a man was like, "I'll play," and he just totally ignored it.
Like
Totally
completely ignored.
You hear that, babe? I ignore him.
Oh, that's what it comes down to. Sunday night, let's talk about this game. This is for the 1 seed here. The Lions going up against the Vikings. I will say there are some best bets in this one. I'm not going to say what. Pete, what is going to be the difference maker in this game?
The Lions' defense is awful. And look, in fairness to them, in fairness to Aaron Glenn, you take the best pass rusher in the league in Hutchinson off the field. You take your best inside player in McNeil off the field. No Carlton Davis. The linebacker group is banged up. I just don't see how they're going to stop the Vikings offense. And on the flip side, the Vikings defense against the Lions offense will be fun to watch. One is a big advantage for the Vikings defense. I'm taking the Vikings.
I'm going to be taking the Vikings as well. What a complete football team, and they've seemingly stayed healthy and gotten better as the season's gone on as a football team and as an offense, because this guy Sam Darnold has been lights out. And when it mattered most, he has risen to the occasion. I love the Vikings in this spot. They're going to flip-flop that power ranking of yours.
Pay the man, by the way.
I think they should make a shirt that just says, "This guy, Sam Darnold."
This guy, Sam Darnold.
Oh, okay. See, the way you say it is different, though.
If the Vikings win this, which you guys think is going to happen, the NFC is going to go through Minnesota. Are they going to get to the Super Bowl?
They can.
Well,
I'm not
are
saying
they going to?
I'm not saying. I think.
Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. See, I'm a big believer that I think the playoffs this year are going to be very unpredictable.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to see the basic obvious teams that we all think they'll be. I think you're going to see
And
some
playoff
surprises.
football in Minnesota at that stadium, what a treat, because that is like chef's kiss.
It's not like
I
it
really
was,
wanna
though,
go
when
to a
Pete
game
was a
there.
kid.
It is fantastic.
I
When
really
they,
wanna
you know,
go
when
to
they
a
used to
game
play at
there.
Mall of America outside, when they were going to
Bloomington.
Super Bowls year after year.
Bloomington, it was miserable. I was a kid.
That was a great home field
And
advantage,
then
though.
I was a kid, but the games I covered in the Metrodome might have been the worst, most annoying, loudest games I've ever been to in my entire life.
I played the Vikings week 17, back when there were 17, and we got beat so bad I gave up 2 sacks, and it was at the Minnesota Golden Gopher Stadium outside. I was frozen. I wanted to quit playing football for eternity because I was so cold. I'm glad they're inside now.
You want to start with the little...
Every game should be
Wanna
played
get us off the air?
Every game should be played inside.
Best
Every
product.
single one.
You were
Stop it,
boring.
Pete.
Stop
On
being
natural
negative,
grass
Pete Bristow.
inside.
We've
Inside.
gotten really off track here. So let's talk about HQ. By the way, we have all of your highlights, everything you need to know about the NFL. This is my favorite promo that we
It
have.
is.
It is. I mean, it explains it succinctly, right?
It's all here.
News,
It's all in the
highlights,
details,
scores.
right?
It's all here.
Yep. Coming up next, Josh Allen is going to start for the Buffalo Bills, who have nothing to play for. But how much will he play? And will the Bills get the win against the Patriots, who are looking to lock up the #1 pick? Expert Picks presented by FanDuel. We are going to hit the early window on
He's back.
Sunday.
You ready to try it?
Are you going to start
Are you
saying
ready to
how
try
long
it?
you can drag that out?
Welcome to this CBS.
Think about the poor people tuning in
CBS.
right now and having to listen to that.
Yeah.
You know what? If they're in the
Probably
kitchen,
waking up some
if they're in the
cats and
kitchen and they're not
dogs,
paying attention,
children.
they turn their heads to the show now.
Yeah, or they're like, wait, I put on the tea on the stove.
Hey, and by the way, it's
better
week
go get
18
it.
and he still can't do it.
CBS.
You saw the
Don't make me
CBS
laugh.
slate, both early and late. Going to focus on the early games here. Let's start with Panthers and Falcons. Atlanta needs this to have any hope, even though they need the Bucs to lose to the Saints, which doesn't seem likely. But the Falcons are favored by 7.5, Pete.
The Falcons lost a game last week that probably cost them a chance to win the division, but they found the future.
They did.
That's the most important thing. They now have sustainable success for the next decade. So Atlanta, you deserve to be applauded. You found your quarterback. He's going to be special. He's going to be a good, big-time quarterback. And that's the most important thing for the long-term success. They'll win this game. He'll play well. but they're not going to make the postseason. But I think they handled things against the Panthers.
Yeah, and you bring that festival back to Atlanta. You know, you went on the road, you went toe-to-toe with the offensive rookie of the year, a guy who deservedly should be in the MVP conversation, Jaden Daniels. Your rookie went toe-to-toe with him. Now you bring it back to Atlanta against Carolina, who had a terrible week this past week against the Bucs. I love the Falcons in this spot.
Who don't you have in the MVP race?
It's got an offensive lineman in there.
Joe Tooney, Joe Burrow,
Patrick Mahomes,
Jaden Daniels, Patrick Mahomes. I'm leaving all the winners out, obviously. Kill me on Twitter.
Does Raheem Morris need to hire someone to tell him when to take a timeout?
He needs to play Madden more.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Well, they all do. They're all terrible at game management, every single one of them. And you know, people always go, well, Bill Belichick, he was great at it. No, he messed it up too.
Ernie, of course, he was good at it.
They all
Bill
mess
called
it up.
him off a lot.
They all
Put a
mess
little
it.
Instagram post saying you could slide into my DMs if you want to come work for my team. That was interesting from Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Let's go to the team where Bill Belichick's former quarterback went, is no longer there. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they are hosting the Saints. Win this one, they get to host a playoff game. Pete, the line, 13.5, though, another big number.
Yeah, and again, division game, big number. Normally I'd say no way, but what's at stake for Bucs is at play here. But more than that, the way they're playing and the way the Saints are playing. The Saints are awful right now. They lost to the Raiders at home. Think about that for a second. I think that the Bucs will blow them out.
So did the Ravens.
Yeah. So yeah, they did, which is why maybe that's why a certain guy won't win the MVP.
MVP-esque.
Yeah. I'm gonna take the Bucs here. I think Baker Mayfield stays hot, keeps it rolling, and they roll into the playoffs.
How do you compare Spencer Rattler and old Billy Kilmer?
Billy Kilmer was actually pretty good in his day. At one point.
Really? Even though he
Val
lost?
Kilmer, good bad man.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Not better than Adam West. But Billy Kilmer was actually a pretty good quarterback back in the day.
I'm going to go with the Buccaneers. Red hot, just like we were talking about with the Bengals. This is the team who's rolling, rolling, rolling. Give me Baker and the Bucs.
Rolling.
Keep rolling, rolling.
Again, nobody's going to want to play him. Nobody's going to want to play him.
What? Oh, Jesus. Just ignore her. Let's move to Giants and Eagles. And Eagles are the only team locked into a specific seed in the NFC. They're locked into that 2 spot.
I think the only way that you can really win this game as the Eagles is if you lose and if you do a Make-A-Wish for Big Dom. You know Big Dom? World famous cult icon in Philadelphia. Give him the headset. He already has one. You worked him into your staff. Let him be the head coach for a game. Entertainment value alone, I think that's worth watching.
And do you give the ball to Saquon and try to get the record?
What about Saquon? He's
leaning absolutely
away.
not. I'm saying let him play for the first half. And if you get it, you get it. If you don't, we'll dominate in the playoffs.
Okay, if he plays for the first half, are you playing Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata?
No.
So you're going to put him behind a backup offensive line.
The other guys have been coached by Stoutland as well, the offensive line coach
Fred
there.
Johnson's done a nice job when he's played. But again, I'm not playing him because I think it's more important to try and win the Super Bowl than a record. And what happens if, let's say the Eagles, Saquon Barkley, God forbid, got hurt when you're trying to get a record.
We had a coach who said, what if Saquon breaks a shoelace?
Okay.
That's what we always used to say.
Okay, and what if it happened?
And we're in trouble.
But here's the other thing. God must not want him to have the record because as soon as we started talking about that, the lights went out.
That's true. Go to the team that the Eagles handled this past week in the Dallas Cowboys, hosting the Commanders here. Commanders favored by 3.5 on the road in Dallas here. This does determine, though, a little bit more where the Commanders could go. However, I do feel like, this Dallas team is going to be a little PO'd.
Yeah, and I think they're going to show up and play. And Commanders coming off an emotional win to get you in. Now there's a difference to get in and then seed. And where do you want to seed? Do you want to be the 3? Do you want to be? Do you want to be the 7? Do you want to be the 6? Where do you want to play?
And the differences are, if you're the 7,
you go to Philly.
Yeah, you go to Philly.
6, you go to
could be
Tampa.
L.A. Rams. Could be Tampa.
Right. So I still think that Cowboys play. They hate this team. They want to play well. They beat them already.
Coming off another divisional loss.
Right. So I'm going to take the Cowboys.
You asked Micah Parsons. They're only 5, 6, 7 big plays away from a win this past week.
Like every team in every game.
In all seriousness, Jaden Daniels has been unbelievable. And there is no moment too big for this guy. The playoffs have begun for Jaden Daniels mentally, and he's trying to get that momentum built up.
He should be in the MVP race.
Take a look at the numbies. Take a look at the numbers.
Did you ever talk about him versus Bo Nix for rookie, or was it just all Jaden Daniels the entire time?
No conversation.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not. The only other, I think it would be between Jaden Daniels and Brock Bowers. If you're going to look
the power should go out when you said that.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams. Remember when we were saying
Bo had
Caleb
done
Williams or
what
Jaden
Jaden
Daniels?
did earlier in the season.
Leave Brittany alone.
Nobody on this side ever said that.
Let's go to the Bears and Packers, and it's the Packers and Commanders jockeying for seeding there. The Packers could jump the Commanders and avoid having to go to Philadelphia.
And ideally, you'd like to avoid going to Philadelphia if you can. So I think the Packers play here. And with the Bears, what are they, Cabo? Or do they go Aruba? Or do they go Jamaica? Where are they going?
They should be at Myrtle Beach.
I thought everybody went
should
to
keep it
Cabo.
domestic.
No, I think from the middle, you go maybe to Cabo. You could split it. If you're a team in the middle of the country,
You know where they
split
go?
it.
They go to Wisconsin. That's
Yeah.
where they've earned it. They've earned the Wisconsin trip.
They've earned a cold,
That's about
miserable
it. You
winter
hop in the station
vacation.
wagon, you put all your angry family members in there, you go to Wisconsin.
And
We're not going anywhere
Tough it
with
out.
salt water.
Make yourself tougher. You're not going to get. You haven't earned the right to lay on a beach. Is that what you're saying?
Don't get me started.
There you go. Well, we got you started last week on the
Lay on the
Bears.
beaches of Lake Michigan in February.
there you
That's
go.
what
Go
they
to
can
the
do.
Dells.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Packers. I'm going to take the Packers here because I think the Packers are one of those teams that do need to play well going into the playoffs after what happened. They need to start fast. They need to throw the football around a little bit more.
I got the
early
Packers in this one as well.
Okay, let's go to the next one. It's interesting. Get the Bills at the Patriots here. By the way, Patriots is this way. If they lose,
Yeah,
they
lock
get the
up that
number one
seed.
overall pick. Josh
Lock it
Allen,
up.
though, to start, to keep a streak alive for consecutive starts here. Bills favored by 2.5.
Yeah, and I think Allen's going to play one play and get out. And just to show that he could keep that consecutive streak going, which is smart, which is what I would do. I think the Patriots show up and play here, and I think they keep it close. I don't know if they win the game, but they will keep it close. Your buddy Mitch Trubisky
Yep.
will be playing quarterback. He's capable, but I think New England will play well here. They played him well the last time. They played him a couple weeks ago at Buffalo, and I think they play him tough here. I'll take the Patriots.
I fully anticipate Joe Brady having a great game plan for Mitch Trubisky, who can get outside the pocket. He's definitely a dual threat type of guy. And the great thing is for that receiving core, not much changes in regards to the scramble drill. The route concepts are all going to be the same. Trubisky had some action this past week, did a good job. I'm going to be taking the Bills in this one.
By the way, the Patriots, if they do win and they blow the first pick, it's not a big deal if they end up with the second pick because
But you could fall,
I know.
to 4, 5,
But if
6.
they end up with the second pick, then the two picks that have value for the New England Patriots are the first and the second pick because the quarterbacks are going to be there. Somebody's going to want to go up and trade. You can trade back out.
Yep.
So they need to have
Get a
one.
haul
Are you
for that.
mad if you're a Giants fan?
Absolutely.
Oh, my
Absolutely.
God.
And by the way, I'm not sitting here saying these two quarterbacks are slam dunks like a lot of the guys I thought in the past, but you want to be able to draft one of them.
Yep.
Speaking of draft order, that's the only thing on the line for the Jags and the Colts with Indianapolis losing last week. Indy, though, a 5.5-point favorite at home.
When was the last time the Colts won the division? Just a question out there. Who was the quarterback? It was Andrew Luck.
Yep.
I mean, it's 17, I think it was, or 16. It was
17 was his last year.
Yeah, 17. This franchise has gone in the wrong direction. They've been a couple years they flirted with it. They haven't won a playoff game since then, and no heat on anybody, and that's amazing to me. I think that the Colts, though, will find a way. What do I always say? If you have two awful teams and one's traveling to play the other one, you take the home team.
Yep.
Right?
I feel like that's the rationale for my pick as well. We're both in on the
yeah,
Colts.
There's a stronger way to say it. I'm just not going to say it on the air.
Yeah.
By the way, it was 2014, according to producer Jack, the last time the Colts won
There you
that
go.
division.
There you go.
2014?
10 years.
Because 17 was the post 17 was his retirement.
Well, this regime has been there since 17, I think, though. And that's what I'm saying. This regime itself, Chris Ballard and group, they've been there since 17.
I was going to check it, and I trusted you.
Yeah, 17.
You can't trust Pete.
Can't trust them.
No, I'm saying this regime hasn't been there since. This regime has been there since
they
17.
blew it up in 17.
Yeah.
Pete's arguing with Jack, who you can't hear.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Right.
Go ahead. Me? You want me to go again? Okay.
Oh.
Texans, Titans. That was supposed to be
is it
your
mine?
game.
Okay, well, let's talk about
We
Texans,
saved the
Titans.
best for
No,
you, Amanda.
Okay, thank you. So
There's
this
no
does
bigger
have
game this week.
Draft order implications here. Yeah, no bigger game than this one. Texans, they're locked into their seed. But do you want to see something different from them, like go out on a high note going into the postseason, given what we've seen recently?
Yeah, I mean, they need to vomit and get whatever's in their system out because they are going to the playoffs. And this is a team that's going to not want to roll over in that first round. So it's got to be, you got to play this week. You got to play hard, treat it like a playoff game. And like I said, it's that momentum conversation.
Yeah.
You're rolling into the playoffs. You want to have a good taste in your mouth rolling into the playoffs.
The Titans might play Will Levis again this week. I'm taking the Titans.
That'll be
Wait,
fun
you're
to
back
watch.
on the Will Levis bandwagon?
Well, hey, look, for as bad as everybody makes him out to be,
He's entertaining.
Mason Rudolph has been just as bad, if not worse. And that tells you what's going on around all those guys. And their numbers are eerily similar. Both of them have been bad, but I'll take the Titans here because, look, we say that they're going to play guys. At what point will they continue to play guys when you got to play next week? You know what I mean? It's important to show something early in this game for the Texans, but do you pull them out at some point and get them ready for next
Is
week?
Alshire back this week or next week?
Three game, 1, 2, 3. He should be back this week.
Yeah, there you go.
It'd be a costly win for the Titans. Right now, they would be in position to get a quarterback if they wanted it. Either Cam Ward or
Maybe that's
Shedeur
why they're going to
Sanders.
play Will Levis.
Yeah, I mean, they can't
So
go
don't.
into next season with Levis, right?
I mean, you don't want to. You want to draft a
Right
quarterback.
now, they've got the number 2 pick. They'd be able to draft a quarterback.
You know what they're going to start saying about Will Levis? Well,
What's that?
maybe he can be Sam Darnold. Maybe he can be Baker Mayfield. Maybe he can be that. We hear that Geno
Where are
Smith.
you on the Will Levis train right now?
Inconsistency.
All right, yeah.
You jumped off weeks ago,
No,
Pete.
I still think
He did, I heard it.
Here are the games on CBS. We still have to hit those late games. Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, Raiders. You don't want to talk about a team that's hurt their draft stock. The Raiders
Dumb.
have won back-to-back games and have lost a bunch of ground in draft picks.
Going through our expert picks brought to you by FanDuel. I really can't believe we're at week 18. Like it was
It goes like that, doesn't it?
I'm sad, but we got a lot of good postseason ahead of us here. Taking a look at the 4 p.m. slate you got coming up this weekend here. Chiefs hosting the Broncos in this one. Also, so I was sick over Christmas, and
You're
then I
still
get up.
sick.
I'm not, whatever. And
Still
here
sick.
are the Dolphins with
Yeah.
a chance to get into the postseason.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
what
it's possible.
the heck happened?
Well,
Let's go through some of these
They, like the
games.
Bengals, have been playing better football, but we don't know about Tua.
Pete and Kyle over there having their own conversation. We're
Well,
going
he
to
was
bring
just
them into
asking
our
if it was Chiefs at
conversation.
Broncos or Broncos at Chiefs.
Yeah,
It
because
is
you said it
Chiefs
was at Chiefs.
Broncos.
Got it.
I said it was at the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Oh, well, like I said, I've been
It's
a
the
little
antibiotic
under the
talk.
weather here. So let's talk about the game. Chiefs at Broncos here. Broncos, again, third week in a row, need to win. They're in the postseason here. Chiefs, if they win, they do keep the Bengals out, so no Joe Burrow.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
You don't care about this?
The Chiefs don't care. They don't care who they play, where they play,
That's
how
the
they
one
play.
team that doesn't
Broncos
care.
favored by 9.5 in this one.
And that's reflective of the Chiefs resting guys, but it shouldn't be that high. It just shouldn't. You have to play guys. There's only so many guys on your roster. Carson Wentz is more than capable of doing some things as a quarterback. And this is a young team in Denver that the pressure is tough when you know you have to win and get in.
Yeah, and when the other
And
team's
coming off
resting
that
guys,
last
too.
game, too.
Yeah,
The pressure as a player, Kyle, that has to play a big impact in this
Yeah,
game.
so I took the, by the way, in case you wanted my pick,
Yeah.
you interrupted me. I'll take the.
Who cares about your picks, Pete? We don't want to hear them because you suck.
You know what? You're right, but I'll take the Chiefs. So go the other way.
I'm going to roll the Chiefs as well. I just think the
Are
culture.
you guys doing Chiefs to win?
Chiefs to
Or
win.
just
To win?
I didn't have them to win. I had the Chiefs covering.
plus 9.5. I want to be
Okay, there we
very,
go.
Are they going to win by 9?
very clear.
Are they going to win by 9?
I think Carson Wentz has an opportunity to, rewrite the book on who Carson Wentz is, and an opportunity to play a divisional opponent who's got to get in. This will be a great spot for the Kansas City Chiefs to, at the very least, keep it within how many points? 9 points.
9.5, you said?
Give me the
They
Chiefs.
will win by exactly
9.5.
Let's go to the Dolphins and Jets, and these games are going on simultaneously, same time, so the Dolphins aren't going to know what they need to do, at least not early on in that game. If the Broncos are to are to lose against the Chiefs, then all of a sudden it's the Dolphins who control their fate in this game. If they win, they'd be in.
Yeah, and I think this is one of those situations where the Jets have looked so bad. They were terrible last week, but they're at home. Last week of the season against a rival, you don't know if the quarterback's going to be there, and I think they're going to show up and play. They would love nothing more than knock the Dolphins out and having any chance. I think the Jets play. I'll take the Jets.
We got a weather person in this building.
Amanda
Chris is-
pretends to be a meteorologist.
Okay, first of all, I did chase the tornadoes. Chris is just obsessed with weather and thinks he knows more.
Jamie Eisenberg played that role for us on Sunday.
Give me
this
the
past
Jets.
week.
It's cold, and they're trying to ruin a season for the Dolphins. They've already ruined their own season.
And the Dolphins got a break last week by
36
not
degrees
having
is
cold.
not that cold.
It's cold.
Okay.
But you know,
all right.
the Dolphins got a break because it was
36
warm in
degrees
Cleveland.
relative to here. I was sweating. My pits were sweating on the way in here. So you go up to New York or New Jersey or wherever the hell the Jets play.
It's cold.
Turned into a
It's gonna
hell of
be
a
cold.
Week 18 picks. Chargers at Raiders here. Chargers are already in the postseason. However, they could move up a spot, face potentially the Texans instead of the Ravens, which would probably be a little bit nicer for them. Favored by 5.5, total 41 and a hook.
Yeah, and I think what we saw from the Chargers last week, New England's not very good, but that looked good. I mean, Herbert played well. They got physical again, and I think that's going to show up. The Raiders, they won a couple games. They ruined their draft spot. I think Pierce is probably going to get fired out the door. He stuck one to the team, so I think you're going to see the Chargers play well here. I'll
Yeah,
take
and
Chargers.
I think the Chargers, like the Lions, have a coach who doesn't care what week it is, doesn't care what the stakes are, doesn't care about seeding. I mean, he's like, let's just go play football. And that Chargers football team is one that I trust drastically more than that Raiders football team as it stands. Give me the Chargers.
Raiders are hot, and they don't care about their draft pick, clearly, because they
don't
won
care about
back-to-back
much,
games.
apparently.
They could fall out of the top 10 if they win that one. Let's move over to the NFC, also 4:25 Eastern time, NFC West. Seahawks, 3-point favorites at the Rams, who still have some seeding that they can play to here. They win, they clinch the 3, or they could drop to 4 and maybe have to play the Vikings or Lions.
I mean, it really doesn't. The seeding doesn't really matter, but they haven't played very well, particularly on offense the last month of the season. They're not scoring points, and that concerns me. I think that Seattle come in here, they'd love to beat the Rams on the way out to kind of feel good about their season because theirs has gone off the rails. I'll take Seattle here.
7 points would have beat this Seahawks team last week in primetime. Give me the Rams. I know they've struggled offensively.
Rams ain't exactly lighting it up
I
either.
understand that they've struggled off. I just prefaced it with that,
Right.
Pete. But I think they figured out this week. And that defense is pretty darn good. They can frustrate that terribly porous offensive line for the Seattle Seahawks.
And you know what, the Rams, they don't run. They're not fast. They're slow. It's a slow team, and it shows up. It showed up the last month.
Final game we're going to take a look at of Week 18 here. No implications in this one. 49ers at Cardinals. Cardinals favored by 3.5 in this one. Kyle, you always preach, though, these players come out there to play and put on a good game. I mean, if you're in this position, though.
Yeah, I mean, I got the 49ers in this one. And I know Brock Purdy's dinged up, but I fully anticipate Kyle Shanahan to roll out another great game plan. They've gotten a little bit healthier in the run game. The defense at times looked to be okay this past game. I'm going to be taking the Niners. And the Arizona Cardinals have fallen off a cliff.
Yeah, I've made this pick before we found out that Brock Purdy had his injury. He's
That
probably,
line swung about 4 points. Niners were a slight favorite, and then Brock Purdy likely not going to play, and now the Cardinals favored by over a field goal.
If I, I know for graphics we have this for a pick, but I would take the Cardinals right now. If Brock Purdy's not playing, I'm taking the Cardinals.
I'm going to stick with Shanahan.
Flip-flopper?
Flip flop. Well, we didn't. When I made this pick, I got to make a pick at Monday afternoon at 4 o'clock.
You're right.
Why do you have to make him so early?
Because I get him in early because he sends him out. I send
Kyle
him to
makes his picks 30 seconds before the show.
and that's why he's got a great record, and that's why I have a crappy record.
Because you lock yourself in.
Got it.
All right, it is time for best bets for the last time of the regular season.
No.
Briscoe's picks
No.
presented by FanDuel.
No.
And
I don't want to.
oh God, Amanda's ahead of me in winning
Look at
percentage
how
now.
far I have climbed.
Man,
copies me.
I had my
I
streak
didn't
snap.
copy you.
What, Amanda?
And the only
this is
time
only your
there's a
5th
one
show
there.
of the
Yeah,
year.
But you know what that is? That's like a backup quarterback who has a couple good games and doesn't play the whole season.
How many
You know
weeks of
what?
vacation
I
does
get
Amanda
paid,
get?
man. I get paid, and you keep me on staff.
3-1. Kyle's 13-4. I can't do the math in my head to see if she can catch Kyle in winning percentage with a win. She
Probably.
finishes
Yeah.
4. Yeah, if she
Yeah, she
finishes
would.
4-1 and you lose this week,
Look out.
she's the winner.
You have to have 7 weeks of picks to even
Yeah,
qualify
that's-
for the
You have to
award.
be
I
here
say
at least
10.
half the season.
Yeah, at least 10.
Now, if we combine her and Jacqueline,
Oh, boy.
and combine their picks, is it still the best?
No.
No.
God,
so
no.
that's what you
Has
have to
Jacqueline
do.
been bad?
Yeah, that's what you have to do. You're combined.
We'll just ignore her.
You know, like they used to have the racehorses to be 1 and 1 hay. It's like they ran them together. That's what you guys are together. It
Pete,
counts.
what's your
Three
best
legged
bet this
winners.
week?
And by the way, you can put your picks together, and you're still ahead of me. So don't worry about it.
What's your pick this week?
My pick this week. Who did I pick? I picked
wanna
the
flip-flop that
Vikings.
one, too?
No, this one I love. Vikings Lions over. I'm going
Over 57 and a
I'm
half.
going chalky as chalky can be, and nobody is. The Lions aren't stopping anybody, and the Lions can score on anybody. So you know what that means about this game. There's the last one of the year.
Vikings
not gonna be the last one.
plus 2.5 at Detroit. And I think that they're the most complete team in the NFC and maybe in the National Football League right now. The Kansas City Chiefs have the greatness effect, and I fully anticipate them being at the Super Bowl. But the Vikings, as it stands right now, man, oh man, they're good.
And they have an MVP candidate, right? One of the 22 of them.
I would like, for the record, I did not know Kyle's pick, but I also took Vikings plus 2.5.
So you
that
do
means-
steal my
This is
pick.
pretty, yeah. No, I
Well, that
didn't
means you can't-
steal them, dude.
that means you can't
Hurry up,
beat
'cause
them.
I got one more question for
You
Pete.
can't beat him now.
Okay, great. Go, hurry.
You just.
Chris, what is your best bet?
You coffin cornered yourself. You can't bet. My best bet is Bengals minus 1.5 at the Steelers.
Love
Okay.
that.
And Chris,
It's also
the
the
producer
producer
pick.
pick, by the way. So
I want one more bet from you, Pete. Texas going up against Arizona State. You leave today. You're going to be there in person. 12.5 in favor of the Longhorns.
I'll take the 12.5, but I don't think this pains me to say this, but I think Texas is too big, and I think they're going to run it right down their throats. But look, whatever ASU gets, it's gravy. But I think that Texas.
What
is
did you
too
say
big.
your little motto was?
Forks up, horns down.
there you go.
go.
Amanda will be on your side.
Yep.
Cute. I'll buy a
This week.
T-shirt.
I'm gonna make those and sell them on the corner up there.
By the way, Kyle's Oregon Ducks, the number
Best
one
team in the country.
overall seed.
Best team in the country.
Those are our best bets
You went
for
to
the final
Saddlebrook.
week of the regular season.